to be honest, he is playing like shit. And like when you see Dame, you don't expect him to play so badly. And so
never.
Oh my God. What the?
We are back for the second podcast of the Average Joe Basketball Show. I'm Calvin Cook. I'm here with my co-host, Logan Becker.
Glad to be here.
And our producer, Michael McNally, sitting on the floor over here. Thank you so much, Mike. Without any of this, none of it would be possible. So,
Exactly. He's the main person here.
he's the main man.
So start us off, mate.
So we're going to do a quick little coverage of all the NBA teams and where they're at. When I made my list last night, this is the standings as of December 13th last night. And
A
this
little
is
bit before the All-Star break. We're going into it.
And the number one team seed in the East is the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, they're performing pretty well without Kyrie and all his shenanigans that are going on. They're a little bit shorthanded without him. Of course, they're going to miss him, his scoring ability and his ability to create, not only for himself, but for his teammates. But you got guys like LaMarcus Aldridge who are having great years. He's only playing 26 minutes a game. He's averaging 14 points, 58% from the field with 6 boards. And a lot of their role players who would just be simply role players on any other team are stepping up and filling some big shoes in the absence of Kyrie.
Yeah, with the absence of Kyrie, Patty Mills is getting his job done. He's playing actually excellent on the Nets with a whopping 13 points on steady shooting with 44 across the board with 90% free throw shooting. They do have some players that still need to find out what they're doing. For example, Blake Griffin. I'm sure he'll get back into his rhythm sooner or later. He's being a team player about it, which I like. Paul Millsap, he kind of just went under the radar out of nowhere. And then another one, I want to say it's Bruce Brown. For a guard as a forward, everybody can shoot in the NBA. And for Bruce Brown, I think that's his biggest struggle is everyone knows that he won't shoot the three. He can't shoot the three. And I mean, he's shooting 32%, but like the Bucks series really showed that he needs to put work into his shot.
Oh, absolutely. They run a pretty good small ball lineup, and he almost plays like a 5, essentially. He sets on ball screens. He rolls hard to the basket. He's really hard-nosed. He's got a lot of positive to him, but the only thing is that he has no jumper. We haven't even really seen him shoot, so I can't say that he doesn't have a jumper. He's, like you said, he's shooting 31% from 3, but I mean,
You just don't see him shoot. Like in the Bucks series, they were
wide open from 3, and he's not pulling it. And that's a flaw in his game. I think you got to have that confidence to knock down a wide open jumper. I mean, you're an NBA player at the guard position too.
And the Nets, they really improved their ball movement, having 2 ball dominant players, but their ball movement turns into a last second shot for KD.
Yeah.
Or Harden. Otherwise, they're trying to run the fast break. They're really good at the fast break, but they just need to have more players that are willing to take that shot. I mean, I know KD and Harden want that shot, but if someone's open in the corner, they got to be ready for it at any moment.
Also, that add on to the Blake Griffin thing, he's playing 21 minutes per game. He's only averaging 5 points.
Oh, yeah, no, he's averaging 5 points, terrible shooting, 15% from 3, 69 at the free throw. He's getting 4.7 rebounds.
And 2 assists?
Yeah, just about 2 assists. Like, you got to get more done than that.
Yeah, you need more out of him if he's going to be a role in this team. Also, like you said, Paul Millsap, he's just not getting minutes. Neither is Nicholas Claxton. Neither are young guys like Cam Thomas. It's like Steve Nash is playing like the same 7 guys. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the car, but it's like the same 7-man rotation.
No, and then they were exposed to that in their Bucks series. Like Claxton, whenever he was in the game, he was playing great defense, was in his spots, but Steve Nash has an inner Thibodeau in him and just plays the same 5 to 7 guys a game.
And I can't say that it's not working. They're the number 1 seed in the East.
Number 1 season
seed
for a reason.
I just want to point out that the Nets have a they're third in defensive rating in the league for as far as points per game allowed.
Yeah, no, that's why they're great on the fast break.
And that's also another reason why they're the number 1 seed in the East. I'm a big believer in defense first.
Defense is what creates the offense. So, I mean, without defense, you're never going to have an offense.
Number 2, we got Milwaukee. At the very beginning of the season, it was a little bit concerning, right?
Oh, definitely.
Since then, they've bounced back. They're now the number 2 seed. Bobby Portis is continuing to play big minutes. This year, he's averaging 15.6 points per game, 9 boards, 1 block, and a steal. And he's 40% from 3. And I just think that as a Bulls fan, represent Chicago. We got the DeMar jersey on today. Logan's got his Chicago Bulls hoodie on. I think we let a good piece go. He's a good development piece. And now you kind of see what he's growing into. He's not necessarily a star or anything, but he's a great role player.
Oh, definitely. He'll get the job done. What I like about the Bucks is you could see Drew Holiday, his numbers are kind of staying consistent. He's playing great defense still, but even Middleton numbers, his scoring numbers went down. He's doing everything else great because Grayson Allen and Pat Connaughton have stepped up scoring-wise.
Yeah.
They've been great. And they're shooting good, too. I mean, they're shooting over 40% altogether, and I like that they stepped up scoring-wise to help out Middleton, help out Giannis, and help out Drew. No, they're all clicking. They got some nice bench pieces that are clicking as well.
Sorry. That's
Turn your ringer off, dude.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I got you. The Bucks look great, and they are still without Dante DiVincenzo as well.
Oh, yeah, no, he's a key part. I feel once Dante will come back, George Hill's minutes will slowly decline. And he's done pretty well while Dante's been out. He's been playing a great veteran guard piece.
Absolutely. George Hill, the contributions from George Hill, who's efficient from 3. You know he can knock it down off the 3. What is he averaging? 9 points per game, right?
7.5.
7.5, okay. But you got contributions from guys like him, Grayson Allen, like you said, Pat Connaughton. Those guys are both above 10 points per game. And really, there's a bunch of guys who can come in off the bench for that team, and they can knock down shots, and they all play their role. They're clicking defensively. They're 5th in the defensive rating. So, I mean, you can't really ask too much more from them either.
No, when you got 6 guys on your team scoring over double-digit points, you know the ball movement's good, and they're trusting each other, and that's a big thing in basketball is trusting. If they're not a star, you still trust them to make shots, and that's what the Bucks have done ever since their recent struggles at the beginning of the year.
Number 3, we got our Chicago Bulls. We've hit about a bit of a rough patch recently with the whole COVID ordeal.
COVID got, 10 guys out?
10 guys out. Our games are postponed. When DeMar DeRozan first got COVID, I thought, okay, here we go. This is the start of a little 2-week losing stint. Not that we'd lose every game, but then we came out and then we absolutely squashed Denver. And then we got squashed by Cleveland. And
I'm not Cleveland this year. Cleveland.
Oh, I'm not knocking Cleveland at all. They're great. But we'll get to that in a second. Prior to the entire COVID thing going on, even in the absence of Pat Williams, Caruso's kind of been in and out a little bit with his left hand. And I think it just goes to show that this team has already developed chemistry a lot sooner than a lot of people were anticipating.
So my biggest thing was injuries happen, obviously, with COVID this year. How we would play without key players and how we would play after losses, how we would bounce back. And I'm actually very happy the way we bounce back after losses, whether we get squashed or close games. Like the Rockets won, we responded the next game with a big win. And I love just how each individual player is playing their role, like Javonte Green and Elise Johnson. Like their stats aren't saying much, but watching their games, there's just such a key part to our defense and our smaller ball team.
Defense is more of an effort thing. It's not just an effort thing solely. You have to know if you're running a zone or man or whatnot, but you have to read the scouting report. But it really just comes down to how much effort are you willing to put in to make this stop?
How much effort and how big of a nose for the ball you have. You know, you go out and you get it. You're going to get it more than half the time if you go out.
If you have that mentality, yeah. And the Bulls went from a loser mentality team to a winning mentality team.
To quickly talk about Lonzo, his shooting is excellent. He's shooting over 40%. Free throws still at 70, but it's improved a lot. He's averaging 13, 4.5, and 5.5, and that's all I want for him. The only problem Lonzo has is his scoring's inconsistent. One day he'll drop 6 points, but he'll do excellent in everything else. And then next game,
he's got 22.
Yeah. So I wish he could be a little more consistent because his touches usually stay the same. But other than that, he's just clicking with everybody.
Another thing that makes the Bulls great right now is, I know we talked about defense, but their backcourt defense in particular. Like Vucevic, yeah, maybe he's not a great defender. He maybe get a couple blocks at the rim because he's 7 foot tall. But our backcourt defense, every team has almost an all-star guard at this point. Maybe not all-star, but they have a star caliber guard at every team. If you don't have a star guard, then you're not going to be successful.
And for bigs, every team doesn't have an all-star big, which makes it a little bit more scarier because Embiid's going to go off on your team. But when you're playing like against the Pacers and Miles Turner goes off for a giant double-double, or even when you play the Sixers and Embiid doesn't go off, but Drummond freaking goes off for you for like 12 and 14, that's what kills you in the backcourt against Vooch and all our other bigs with Tony Bradley, was when the no-name bigs go off on you instead of Embiid and Jokic and Gobert.
Our second string front court isn't very strong per se. That's also in the absence of Pat Williams.
Yeah, no, he was a big loss.
With him being out indefinitely, it's kind of a big punch to the Bulls. I mean, we'll make do. I mean, we've continued to win games without him, so it'll all be all right. Hopefully we get this COVID situation cleared up and we can get back to playing some good basketball.
Yeah, with Williams gone, that means there'll be more minutes for Troy Brown Jr. and Derek Jones Jr. And so hopefully they get some. I feel like they're fast break players. If they play great defense and the team plays great defense, that's when Troy Brown and Derek Jones will really be fitting in and they'll know their role and they'll like what they do.
So at the 4th seed, we got the Miami Heat. What do you think of this ball club? Do you think they're right where they should be, 4th seed in the middle of the pack? I thought that they would be somewhere between the 3 and the 6th seed, but I want to know your take on this.
I think they're right where they're at because their team is very similar to the Bulls team.
A lot of new pieces.
They got players that could score whenever they want, but they're mostly a grit and grind, play defense, run the fast break, and that's like the Bulls' rival right there. When you got Tyler Herro, that's going off 6th man of the year, in my opinion, that's when they're really dangerous.
Oh, he's definitely going to be 6th man of the year. He's averaging over 20 points a game. He's their second leading scorer on that roster. Jimmy, then him, or is he first now?
No, he's second.
Okay,
but
Jimmy, then him.
Jimmy and Bam, they're always going to be the big men that just dominate each game, and you can only hope to contain them. But it really comes down to how Lowry plays. You don't want him turning into a Kemba.
Don't you dare compare Kyle Lowry to Kemba Walker.
They're averaging the same numbers.
Yeah, but you know what Kyle Lowry does that Kemba doesn't? He plays defense.
I mean, you got key bench players. So PJ Tucker, he's not going to average anything outstanding, but he's going to play that grind hard defense. You got Strus coming in, knowing his role, knowing when to take the shots. It does come down to Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry and how they play.
Comes down to those two guys and also Hero. You know Hero's going to get his own. He's going to come off the bench and he's going to tear up most second string guards. So I'm not too concerned about him, but Duncan Robinson, if he can find more consistency, that'd be great. Kyle Lowry, he's only averaging...
Kyle Lowry's averaging just under 14.
13.8 or something like that. Yeah. 38% from the three-point line. Actually, no, 31% from three, 38% from the field. But, you know, with Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat, they're going to be a grit and grind defensive team no matter what. So I'm not too concerned about them. I think they're going to be right where they are for a while.
I have a feeling when it comes late, if both teams play the way they're supposed to play, it'll be a battle between the 3rd and 4th seed for the Bulls and the Heat.
Yeah, and you know they're going to bring it. It's going to be a good series. Number 5, Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland has far exceeded my expectations this year.
Most definitely, and it's almost being led by Jared Allen.
Than Mobley.
Well, Mobley's doing good, but it's come down to Garland and Jared Allen that are leading this team truly.
Garland has the keys to the driver's seat. Colin Sexton's out right now. They really look to him to score the ball. They look to him to pass. He's a great player all around. He can shoot. He can get to the basket. He can create his own shot. Create for others. He's averaging, 7.5 assists?
Yep. And then, so when you got key guys that you take a gamble on, like Lowry, they kind of gambled on him. He's doing his own thing, 14-5. Kevin Love's proving doubters wrong with a 12-7. You know, the whole team's clicking, and obviously you got Mobley. Probably if he didn't get hurt, he'd be by far Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think he's still got a shot at Rookie of the Year.
Oh, he definitely does. But if he didn't get injured and still playing this, I think he'd have it in the bag.
Oh yeah.
You got Chetty that's playing great. So all around,
Chetty Osman's awesome. They got a bunch of people in double figures on that team scoring for them.
Yep, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And it's Love, Osman, Rubio, Lowry, Garland. Who else?
And Allen.
Jared Allen.
I mean, you could count Colin Sexton, but
yeah, I'm not going to count Sexton because he's out. Kind of seems like they just kind of threw this team together and said, go play, go make it work, and they have.
No, that for a backcourt dominant team, like Darius Garland's just loving this. He's getting screens around everywhere. He's got bigs that could pop out for the three.
And Lowry, he's got an all-time lob threat whenever he runs a pick and roll.
When it comes to Allen, he's got Love, Markkanen that could pop out. Mobley could do either one.
Mobley's one of those freak athletes, man. He's just like, he's so lanky. He can defend the 1 through the 5. He's a big piece to this team. He does more than what's shown in the stat sheet for sure.
Right. And then Rubio's doing a great job, whether he's playing with the starters or with the second string. He's doing a great job leading them, you know.
I think
13 and 6 he's averaging.
I think it all just comes down to you want to win or you want to go home. It's just like one of those things.
Right.
A lot of these guys are fighting for a contract. There are a bunch of people on this team that have been counted out, like Lowry, Markkanen. Nobody ever thought anything of him after his rough start in Chicago because he was so inconsistent. Couldn't stay healthy. You got Kevin Love, who hasn't been consistent for the last how many years. And they're finally starting to figure some things out.
Kevin Love, I like that he's playing his role and being the vet. He's almost like the Gordon Hayward of the Cavs. But he's also playing with a chip on his shoulder with the USA basketball drama.
Oh, for sure.
And so I love what Kevin Love's doing right now.
Coming in at number 6, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. They've been pretty decent in the absence of Ben Simmons. I really don't think that at this point in the season it's affecting the other players on the 76ers the way it did in the beginning of the season. I don't know what the situation is there, what they're going to do. I don't think anybody really wants Ben Simmons at this point because mentally he's not ready.
Right, and he's definitely probably out of shape. He won't be able to keep up with guys. And I like what Tyrese Maxey's doing. You know, the only thing Ben Simmons has over Tyrese Maxey is he's a little bit better defender, and he's also just bigger.
Yeah, he's 6'10" and probably more athletic too.
But Maxey's playing amazing.
Yeah. Ben Simmons does not have that jumper that Maxey does. And a lot of the times, you look at Philly's offense, Embiid's getting double teamed in the post, and Embiid is a high IQ basketball player, believe it or not. He recognizes that double team and he finds whoever's open. And when you surround him with shooters like Seth Curry, Tyrese Maxey, not that Tyrese Maxey is a phenomenal shooter, but he's an NBA guard and he'll knock it down if you're wide open. Danny Green, Tobias Harris, they have a selection of these players that can just knock down open jumpers. And really, I mean, you let him post up and draw the attention or face up to the basket, you know he's going to draw a double, and that's pretty much their offense in a nutshell.
He's loving that he could kick out the shooters instead of the only people he could kick out to is Matisse Thybulle
and Ben Simmons, who can't.
Ben Simmons, yeah.
I mean, they can't hit the broadside of a barn when they're shooting.
When it comes to that, Tobias Harris, he's doing his thing. He's doing great. I feel he needs to be able to be the guy to take over in games once Embiid is either in foul trouble, he's not having the greatest night, he's getting double teamed constantly. He needs to be that guy to take over. And I say the same thing for Curry. He's more of a set shooter, come around screens and shoot. I think he needs to create more of his shot. He definitely does have his moments where he goes on a little streak creating his shot, but he needs to be ball dominant.
What if Philly ran a couple plays for him to just run around off ball like his brother?
He would thrive. He'd probably be better.
Absolutely. So why don't they just do that? I think that he's a gifted shooter, of course. He's led the league in three-point percentage for how long? He's always in the top 5 every year.
He's under 40 this year, you know, but he's probably taken a lot more shots in past years. But I feel with Philly, Joel Embiid's the most ball dominant person. You know, he's kind of got Mamba mentality where he goes 1 for 10 on the night. He still wants the final shot. 76ers players need to be like, hey, yo, give me the damn ball. I haven't missed yet.
Yeah. I also think that they really don't have like a whole lot of, they got other options, but they don't have an option like Embiid. You know, Embiid's probably going to draw a foul or get a bucket. Like that's
what I want from Tobias Harris. I want him to get the ball 10 seconds left in the game, tied or down by 1. I want him to be able to do some midi fader ISO,
over Embiid having the ball and sometimes he gets stripped, sometimes he gets blocked. It is what it is.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, if Embiid's just destroying,
he does most games, to be fair.
Yeah, but there's times where people game plan perfectly, and it's just not one of those nights, and you need someone else to make a play as much as Embiid wants to make the play.
Number 7, in the East, we got the Washington Wizards. This team's consistency is just it's nightmarish. Bradley Beal's great, but there's no consistency scoring from anybody else.
No, I mean, they did catch me by surprise. I thought they were going to be
Montrez.
Yeah, Trez. He's going
having
nutty.
A great season.
I kind of figured that they would be like, I thought they'd be in the same boat as the Rockets and the Pistons, but they caught me by surprise there a little bit because of Beal. Dinwiddie's playing a great role. Montrez is tearing it up. Caldwell Pope is shooting better. Kuz is actually averaging over double digits in points.
Wow.
Yeah, no. He's actually averaging 7 or 13.
13 and a half and like 9, right?
Yeah, 8 and 3.
Yeah. First off, I don't like Kyle Kuzma.
I don't like Kyle Kuzma. I don't even like Spencer Dinwiddie. He's probably going to get that bonus. Good for him. Finally could play more than half a season. Not shooting the best, but he's still he's averaging the same thing as Lonzo. And he said that tweet out saying he's like, way better than Lonzo, but get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he doesn't play defense like Lonzo does either. He's nowhere near the on-ball defender that Lonzo is, or the athleticism for that matter. I like Dinwiddie. I don't have anything against Dinwiddie. I mean, he did shout out our boy on Twitter and whatnot, but I can't hold that against him. That's just basketball.
No, the only thing he's got to do is just knock down more shots. I mean, he's averaging 40 and 33, so.
He plays a role well, but I think at this point in his career, the flashes that we've seen him do in Brooklyn, I don't think all that potential is still there after all these injuries and how many years of him being hurt. He's not going to be that 24 point per game player like he was for half a season.
No. Yeah, that's all I got on the Wizards. They actually caught me by surprise, but they're still not there.
No, not at all. Coming in at the 8th seed, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Exciting to watch. I'm not going to lie. LaMelo Ball is by far the... well, actually, no. I'm not going to say he's the captain. Gordon Hayward's the captain on this team. LaMelo Ball's got the keys. He's got the ball in his hands a lot of the times. But we talked about this the other day as well. He's not the one that's running plays and whatnot. You see Gordon Hayward, he's always flailing his arms around, telling everybody where to go and where to be, and what plays they're running. And
even you could see sometimes Miles will wave on for a pick and roll because he's dominant and he knows that he's going to get to the spot. So this is being young, LaMelo. He'll get to that point where he's like, all right, we're going to run this.
Where he is running the offense entirely, yeah, because he's got all the potential in the world. I mean, he's having a great season this year.
He's making everybody's job easier, Like, everybody's playing great around him that you would never expect to play great, Like, Miles is literally, like, just as good as John Collins now.
Yeah, he's the leading scorer on that team at 20.1 points per game or something.
Him and LaMelo are just neck and neck, but he even got Oubre averaging 17. You got Cody Martin averaging 9. Terry Rozier's at 18. PJ Washington's at 10. It's just everyone's job scoring wise is so much easier. They do have their stretches where they can't really play defense that well, but even then they get their good stretches of defense well where they get to highlight fast breaks.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm concerned about is them playing defense, really. Once they find some defense, whether that be within their system or they bring in a couple of guys, like a couple of tough, hard-nosed veterans, and they kind of show them how to lock in and be in position and whatnot, then and maybe spread that attitude, but...
That's where they also struggle a little bit. Their only true veterans with playoff experiences, Rozier and Hayward.
Yeah, but they still have a lot of room to grow. They're all pretty young, and I think that there's good things coming for the Charlotte Hornets.
Right on.
The number 9 seed, Atlanta Hawks, underwhelming, overwhelming. What's your take? Right where you expected them to be after last year?
It's just kind of one of those runs where you got all the hype behind you and you just roll with it. And so I'm sure they'll get back on that hype train. They're playing great team ball. They're not getting as many wins as you expect them after that one run in the playoffs.
They're still incredibly young. You look
definitely.
At that entire roster, you got Trae Young, John Collins. Clint Capella is one of the older guys per se on that team, correct?
Yeah.
But Kevin Herter. Yeah, Lou Will is another guy, but he's kind of irrelevant this year. He's not playing a whole lot. What is he averaging? Like 4 points per game?
6.5.
Oh. My bad for a guy who's been 6th man of the year for how many years?
Right.
Yeah, they're still such a young team. New head coach as of last year, so I'm not too concerned about them. Couple years down the road, maybe they'll be a decent team. They'll have a little more experience under their belt. I think ultimately for Atlanta, sometimes you got to get your heart broken. And when you go to the playoffs, you leave it all out there and it wasn't enough. That heartbreak motivates you to get better.
And then they're probably kind of looking forward to being another 8 or 7 seed, maybe even a 6 seed, just to be that underdog again. They kind of maybe they thrive being that underdog villain.
Oh, Trae Young thrived being the villain. You already know that.
Yeah, and it's just even the underdog,
It's Trae. He just likes being the bad guy, and I kind of respect that.
Oh yeah, no, he's got an attitude where he knows he either like me or love me. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, really, the only thing that I have bad with Atlanta is their defense.
Yeah, no, you got Capella who's doing his thing on defense, but other than that,
nobody else can really play defense. They don't understand rotations that well. They look a little lost. That's all. And that's just partially because they're so young.
Right.
Coming in at the 10th seed is the Boston Celtics.
I don't know what's going on with them.
Jaylen Brown was out for a little while. I mean, they were 6-8 without Brown, so that kind of affected them in a negative manner. They were almost 500, but I guarantee if they had Jaylen Brown for a couple of those games, it'd have been a different outcome. They'd have probably had a better record.
So they did good with getting Dennis Schroeder for the money that he did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dumbass, he didn't take a guaranteed $12 million a year from Los Angeles, and now he's making $4 million in Boston. But I think it takes a lot of balls to walk away from the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right. And so 2 big problems with the Celtics right now is they don't got ball movement. Marcus Smart's averaging the most assists on that team with 5.6.
And there's nothing against Marcus Smart there. I think Marcus Smart is a good player. He's a decent passer. He's not all that of a scorer, but he plays his heart out every night.
But that's not his role either. That's he's a 3-and-D type guard. He's not going to run an offense. He's not running pick and rolls.
Right.
And he's the one averaging the most assists, and that honestly that can't happen. He can't average more assists than Tatum and Brown, who are ball dominant.
Well, you look at their backup backcourt, and they really don't have a whole lot of guys there.
Well, I mean, Pritchard isn't shooting all that well. Richardson, he's doing all right, but he's more defensive coordinated, and that's about it, really.
I think they need one more, maybe not all-star, but another good point guard or shooting guard.
I don't even think they need someone good. I just think they need someone that says, to hell with you, we're going to run this. I'm not just going to pass you the ball and watch you shoot, and we're going to run a play, get you open, get you a better shot than what you think you can have.
And Marcus Smart actually said something about that aimed at Jason Tatum towards the beginning of the season. And he was talking about how teams know that it's going to be in your hands the last couple seconds of the game. You're just that guy. And that doesn't win games when everybody knows you're not Kobe Bryant. You're not making that last shot a lot of the times. I'm not saying that he's not a great player, because he is. He's so young still. He's averaging probably 27 points a game, something like that.
Yeah, 26.
He's an incredibly gifted scorer, but when every team knows it's going to go to you in the last possession of the game, it's not that hard.
Right. And they're both playing out of their mind. Kudos to them. They're playing amazing, but they do need a guard to lay down the line and be like, yo, we gotta straighten out here. It can't be final 4 minutes. It's either in one of your 2 hands for an ISO.
Even in just a tough veteran guard, just to get on these young guys' asses and just kind of tell them how it is.
I think Rubio or Goran would fit perfect on this team.
I'd like to see Goran go over there because he's been a little bit underwhelming on the Raptors.
Right.
Which is what the next team is. They're the 11th seed. They've had a really up and down season. They lost OG Anunoby. He's the team's leading scorer, actually, believe it or not. He's out for the foreseeable future. Another thing that I don't really like from the Toronto Raptors is they're not playing Chris Boucher, and they're also down to a rather smaller rotation. I really like Chris Boucher. I'm a Chris Boucher fan. Last year, he was averaging probably 12 points per game, a couple blocks. He's a great 3-point shooter as a big. And this year, his stats have just gone way down because he's not playing.
overall, the team chemistry has been like unreal. Like they're kind of like a Warriors team 2.0. The ball's everywhere. They got about 7 players in double-digit scoring. About 5 of them are over 15.
For the Raptors?
Mm-hmm.
And how are they still losing games?
Because I think the ball's in Pascal's hands in the last final minute.
Siakam, everybody knows your spin move, dude.
Gary Trent's playing amazing offensively and defensively as well, averaging 2 assists. Goran's is playing his role. He's averaging 8 points. Scotty's playing amazing, averaging
Scotty
50.
Barnes, yeah. I think that's another dark horse rookie of the year candidate right there.
Right there, yeah.
Really
Fred
like Scotty Barnes.
He's going off. He's averaging like 26, 5 and 5.
At this rate, this is Fred VanVleet's team. This is no longer Pascal Siakam's team that he led.
You could even say it's OG's team, but I prefer to say it's Fred's team.
It is Fred's team because Fred is a more complete player than OG.
Mm-hmm.
OG's developed a lot. He's hitting shots off the dribble now. He used to just be a straight up 3-and-D player, but he's added a couple things to his bag, and you see him continue to improve every year.
No, he's definitely turning into a Kawhi Leonard type player.
Absolutely. Great from the mid-range as well. And, the defense has always been there, so that's not really a thing he needed to develop. But yeah, he's scoring is more consistent. It's unfortunate that they lost him. That's probably why their record reflects that way, and that they're 11th seed. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs this year or not. More likely not than they will.
Probably not unless they turn it around quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting to be a little too late, but you never know. Mm-hmm. It's a long season, 82 games, so we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. 12th seed is the New York Knicks. I'm kind of at a loss for words for New York as well.
New York, Fournier, they thought they got to have a player out of him. He's just being mediocre. Quickly, he's been better, but, when you play with Kemba and D-Rose, it's hard to get the touches you want. Mitchell Robinson, he's playing a good defensive role, kind of helping Julius Randle out. Kemba Walker, I think, is their kryptonite right now.
He's the one that kind of shot him in the foot. He has no consistency whatsoever.
No,
God.
And when the Knicks go after a star, actually get a star that averages 12, 2.5, and 3 in a high-scoring NBA league, that can't happen. They're lucky they got Derrick Rose coming off the bench to help out.
To alleviate some of his poor shooting. Yeah, Kemba's shooting pretty bad from the floor this year. Personally, I believe that they have too many guards.
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, you look at their entire roster, it's like point guard, shooting guard, point guard, shooting guard. They got, let's see, so Kemba.
They got Burks, Fournier, Quickly, Rose. RJ's also playing great this year. You just kind of hope to see more scoring out of him. He's doing great defensively. Just see him shoot the ball more.
Yeah, RJ is developing into a pretty decent player. You know that Julius Randle is going to show out pretty consistently at this rate. And I personally believe that Fournier is overpaid. He's getting paid $17 million a year. The second highest contract on that team. Randall is, of course, number 1, and he's making $22 million a year, which personally, I think that he should be worth even maybe a little more than that.
I'm sure the Knicks will pay him.
Yeah, I really don't have much more to add about New York other than that. 13th seed is the Indiana Pacers. They've been stuck in this weird place for how many years? They have talent on the team, right? They got Brogdon, they got Sabonis, they got LeVert, they got Chris Duarte, Miles Turner. They got
McConnell.
TJ McConnell. They got a bunch of dudes who are rather talented, but the one thing that they're missing to me is a superstar.
Yeah, they thought they had that in Sabonis, who, he's
an all-star.
He's an all-star, but he's just too predictable, and he's not the one to create his own shot in the post like Embiid.
He's more of a Robin to a Batman. He's not really Batman himself. You know what I mean?
Right. He's playing the role that Vooch is playing on the Bulls.
And Brogdon's always consistent every year, minus his injuries. If he can stay healthy, then that would really help improve his worth.
Brogdon's averaging 25.5 and 6. You can't
really ask for much more than that, to be honest. He's a great player. He's not even a role player. He's more than a role player, but he's not a star either. I actually talked to one of my friends about this, and he said, think about the location of Indianapolis. Do you really think that's a city an NBA player wants to move his entire family to and spend his career there?
At this day and age, no. You got guys wanting to buy fancy houses, fancy everything, go out to nightclubs, and Indiana isn't that type of state. Indiana's your day off is to go work on your game because Indiana's a big basketball state.
It's just not a marketable city. Like you look at places like LA. LA's super marketable. Weather's nice. You're in California. There's plenty to do all the time. Orlando's another one of the places. New York, the Big Apple, even Chicago, comparatively, is a much more entertaining and fun city to go play in. Nobody wants to go play for Indianapolis. No. That's like cut to the clip of Joakim Noah talking about Cleveland.
Yeah, like what's so fun about Cleveland? Like, have you ever heard anyone say they're going on vacation in Cleveland?
Yeah, I didn't think so. But it's the same predicament. It's just not a great city market-wise. I think they got plenty of talent, and it's unfortunate because they've been stuck in like this halfway house for I don't know how long.
They never really had any good draft picks. They've always been in the
middle of the pack every year.
And they're really fucking good at drafting and finding all these gems and stuff. So
yeah, a lot of the players on their team they've drafted and developed. So I hope things get better for the Pacers. Number 14, Orlando Magic.
Oh boy.
This one goes out to my buddy Kamran. Kamran is a Magic super fan. I wrote down Cole Anthony as a dog. You look at his stats, they're almost identical to Ja Morant's. And people just don't believe that.
And he's shooting. He's shooting pretty good too. I mean,
he's efficient.
20 and a half, 6 rebounds, that little short shit, and 5.5 assists. Another person I like that has emerged for them is Mo Bamba. He's come out pretty strong to barely being like getting any minutes, averaging 10 and 8.5.
He's out of Steve Clifford's Big Red Doghouse.
Right. Wendell Carter's going off for them, 13 and 10.
Is a good pickup for them. Also, Franz Wagner.
14.
Franz is awesome.
Both the rookies are actually playing really well. Like Jalen Suggs, he's not really shooting that well, but he's averaging 12, 3 and 3. So
I think I hyped him up a little bit too much, but it's his first year. That's every player from Zaga though. We look at every player from Zaga and they're like, oh, they're gonna be amazing, and they play in the easiest conference every year. Then they get to the NBA or to the NCAA March Madness tournament, and then they choke a lot of the times because they play in such an easy conference. I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but it is what it is.
Right. No, and I didn't totally shit on Jalen Suggs, but I knew he wasn't gonna be the star coming in.
Oh, I mean, there's too many guards in that rotation too for him to just come in and be a star. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to get as many minutes as a lot of the other guys.
And you told me not to compare Suggs to Cole Anthony.
What do you mean?
You said in the last podcast, don't compare Suggs to Cole Anthony.
Don't. Look at what Cole Anthony's proven to be. It doesn't matter what the context was. I thought that Suggs was going to be better than Cole Anthony in years to come, but right now, Cole Anthony, don't you dare mention their name in the same breath, okay? It doesn't matter that I was wrong. It happens, okay?
What's final? The Pistons?
Yeah. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about here other than Malice in the Palace Part 2.
Oh, Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart should be
thinking he's a bad boy, Like, I get being mad, but what do you honestly, you just gotta just take a deep breath and just think, like, what are you absolutely gonna do? What are you gonna just maybe get a lucky punch on him until security pulls you off and you're suspended without pay? And
it was obviously not intentional. To me, I did not think it was intentional.
It didn't look intentional. I mean, he might have said something during it or something, like, get off of me, and pulled away and accidentally hit him.
Happens. It's basketball, man. If you've ever played basketball, you're going to get popped.
But I just don't understand. What do you think is going to happen when you go chasing after them? People are going to hold you back. At the end of the day, you're going to
look like an ass.
Yeah, and then you're just going to be like, whatever, man. I got hit.
I think Isaiah Stewart should go to the UFC or something. I mean, he's got way too much pent up aggression.
Right. Jeremy Grant's been key for them, but I feel like they see him more as a trade piece than a star. Cade Cunningham's been finding his flow the past few games after his recent struggle. So
yeah,
they got a few young pieces of Sadiq Bey to look forward to. Cunningham to finally, if he stays consistent like that, he'll definitely be a key piece in just the NBA future, leading the NBA.
Cade, with his frame, his athleticism, his jumper isn't all that right now, but he's not shooting the ball terribly. I think this rookie class has been a little bit tough for me because there's usually one that pulls ahead of the pack, right? And there's usually one at the beginning of the season. You're like, that dude might be rookie of the year.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk about the fits on their team, because you got star talent throughout this draft, but
it's going to take a while for a lot of these guys to develop into
that. And how they fit through that team. And so Mobley is a great fit. There was a few I said that just didn't click or not even playing at all that I thought would do well. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
it happens.
You can't predict the future, especially with rookies.
No.
And the way coaches are, it is what it is. So I really don't have anything else to say other than I'd be mad if I were Isaiah Stewart too, because I'm on a shitty team.
Right. No. Yeah. You're wearing a Pistons jersey. I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah. Going into the Western Conference, as of last night, it was Phoenix Suns who were the number 1 seed.
I feel like they're the same exact team from last year, just developed a lot better over this offseason, and it shows.
Yeah, it shows. You see that this team is playing with great chemistry. They're the number 2 defensive ranking team in the NBA. Golden State being number 1. But these guys have a chance to win a championship this year.
I think, honestly, looking at this, Chris Paul better win MVP because he's got JaVale McGee and Frank Kaminsky averaging over 10 points a game.
That's hard to do.
I don't think anybody else could even try and do that.
Definitely not Frank Kaminsky. Maybe McGee, but not Frank Kaminsky.
And everyone's getting touches,
They share the ball well. Chris Paul is a true floor general, and we already know this. He's been a point guard for years.
And even Cameron Payne's is running the offense pretty well. His assists aren't high, but you could tell that he's running.
He's getting more than just garbage minutes, too.
Yeah, and he's running the offense well. Landry Shamet's had some key clutch plays in games. That's really nice. So they're all just clicking and enjoying their time together.
I'd like to see Bridges do a little more for them because he just got offered that super fat contract and he's only averaging 12 points per game. I'd like to see him be a little more than what he is, but they're winning. So
he's hitting all his shots. I don't think he's shooting that much a game. Maybe 5-6 shots a game, playing hell of a good defense, and but he's shooting very consistently.
I have nothing bad to say about the Suns. Like I said, some teams need to get their heart broken to come back the next year and say, okay, I'm going to freaking do this. And I hope Chris Paul gets his ring before he retires because he's...
No, the Suns probably did some film on the finals and are like, you know what? This year's going to be a fucking cakewalk,
Yeah, we're going to do things a little bit differently. And, well, I guess I shouldn't even say differently. It's literally the same exact game plan as last year.
Exactly.
Ayton's performing tremendously. So, yeah, that's that.
Right on.
Number 2, Golden State. Golden State also has a huge shot at winning a finals to me.
Steph Curry is
MVP
doing
season.
phenomenal, but he's very underlooked, and that's Draymond Green. I don't think anyone really knows if Draymond's doing anything good or not when they watch the games, but he's probably just as big as an impact as Steph Curry.
If you watch the games and you're a basketball fan, then you know what Draymond is doing. On the ball, off the ball. Those little back screens that he sets for Steph Curry. And you see Curry doing other things, not just running off screens all game, but he's also setting back screens for people like Andrew Wiggins who are cutting and being found by people like Jordan Poole. And this team is reminiscent of when they won the ring against Cleveland without KD.
Right.
That's what it reminds me of. It really does.
You got guys like Jordan Poole emerging as a very great role player. Andrew Wiggins has stepped up big time this year. I love what Wiggins is doing, averaging 18.5. And yeah, they don't even have the best big.
Kevon Looney.
Matter of fact, they don't even have a center on their roster.
Kevon Looney's not a center. Bielitsa's not a center.
It says they're forwards.
They play the 5 when they play. Kevon Looney definitely plays the 5. I don't know. Wiseman hasn't been in much. He's also kind of like a 4/5.
He's still hurt.
But yeah, the Warriors look fantastic. Clay coming back. Do you think that helps them, hurts them with the chemistry that they've developed with this new squad?
They have great chemistry, and the only person it'll actually be hurting really will be Wiggins and Poole, in my opinion, because they haven't fully clicked on the court yet. But I don't give it much time. I say maybe a week, 2 weeks, and they'll be back in the swing of things with Thompson back on the court.
Oh, absolutely. I think another reason that Thompson will not affect the way that they're winning basketball games is because he already knows the system. You're not getting a person that's never played for you ever before. You're playing with a person who's won 3 championships
right.
on this team
And,
already. He understands the way Steve Kerr runs a team. He understands Steph Curry's role. He understands the entire in and out of the system. So
Wiggins and Poole's numbers may drop, but I think Draymond will keep them in check on what the ultimate goal is. Don't worry about your numbers. You know, if we're getting
we're out
wins,
here to win a ship.
Yeah, we're here to win. We're winning. You know, keep playing your game.
Number 3, the Utah Jazz. This is an important one because it goes to show they were the best team in the regular season last year, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are in the next season after they kind of choked in the playoffs a little bit. I wouldn't even say necessarily choked. They didn't make it in the playoffs, right? And here they are, and they're still a top 3 team in the West. That proves a little something.
So what it proves is you got to get rid of Rudy Gobert.
I don't think you have to.
No, you definitely have to, because the last 2 years that they choked is because teams outsmarted the Jazz and put their game plan on Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert basically was the reason they lost in the past 2 playoff appearances, as they exposed Rudy Gobert and his tendencies that he does not like to do.
I don't think that you can put it all on Rudy Gobert, though. You think about these teams, they might go small ball, and Utah doesn't have the ability to do that 100% yet. They need to find a small ball 5, because when you're playing against players like DeAndre Ayton or Joel Embiid, you need that big. He's a big body. He's gonna play defense. He's gonna send shots back. But when you're playing against much smaller teams, per se like Golden State, you look at the way Draymond runs his offense when he's at the 5. Gobert can't keep up with that.
No, but the reason why I say it comes down to Gobert is because you can't stop Mitchell. He's shooting excellent, averaging 25, and Clarkson, Bojan, you can't stop them from lining it up from 3, but once you stop Gobert from getting rebounds, keeping them out of the paint, and opening up the floor spacing, that's when you get beat on 5 out, 1 in. You know, he's grabbing 6 rebounds a game, and you're being out rebounded.
5 out, 1 in. That's a violation.
Oh shit, 5 out. You know, but just spreading the floor is what kills the Utah Jazz. Because, I mean, Mitchell isn't the best on-ball defender. Clarkson as hell ain't a good on-ball defender.
Donovan Mitchell's a pretty good on-ball defender, dude. Look at his wingspan.
Well, yeah, but everybody gets beat. Like,
well, yeah, but
if I give Harden an ISO 10 possessions against Mitchell, no help, I got Harden at least scoring on 6 of them.
That's fair, but Harden is the best isolation player that we have in the league, pretty much.
Well, I even give Tatum and Jaylen Brown like 5 or 6 possessions they score.
I give Tatum 5. But I don't know.
But that just shows that like anybody can get to the hoop, and then once you space the floor out, like the Sixers, that's a good one. The Nuggets with Embiid and Jokic out, they can easily out rebound Gobert, but once they expose him as well, while they out rebound him, is when he gets killed.
I just don't think that he needs to be moved. I think they need to find a different backup 5 so they can run that small ball lineup, because right now they have Hassan Whiteside coming in, and he's playing good minutes too. But it's not a small ball lineup. You can't play defense against people.
They have a few people they could put at the 5, but I just don't think that the chemistry of them at the 5 would work. I mean, they could put Pascal at the 5. They could put Rudy Gay at the 5. Yeah. They could put Gay at the 5, but I don't think that fully would work. Not those players, at least.
No, I mean, Pascal, he's a role player at best. And that's at best. He was good on the Warriors because it's a system that you can play in. It's very simple to be a Warriors player. Set screens for Steph Curry, and he'll find you if you're open under the basket or whatnot. I mean, it's easy to get buckets that way. But in a different system, it's gone to prove that he's been average.
Right.
Going on, number 4th seed, we got the Memphis Grizzlies.
Dark horse of the year. No one saw this coming.
I didn't see it coming for damn sure after they lost Ja Morant.
No, and it's just coming down to having a chip on your shoulder, you know.
These guys, a lot of them are role players, and with Ja Morant out there stepping up and filling the shoes of that star. Man.
Dylan Brooks is playing outstanding. Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing amazing. DeAnthony Melton stepped up. The only thing that's sad about the Grizzlies is I hate Steven Adams being mediocre now.
He's
He's
not
averaging 7 and 8.5 when he used to be.
a double guy every night.
Yeah.
And, that's partially because of age, it's part of getting older. And, the common big in the NBA is not really your common big anymore. You used to see a lot of Shaq type player, not Shaq type, not that type of dominant force, but post up, grab rebounds, block shots. That's all you got to do. Now fives, they spread the floor. They can catch and shoot the 3 ball if they're open. Playmakers, they do a hell of a lot more. They're more skilled.
Right. No, and it shows. It opens up when you got a playmaking big. It opens up to everything. They could score. They could pass. They know where to be on the court as a playmaker, so that's how they get their rebounds. And that's what Jaren Jackson Jr. is low-key turning into, and that's why I see a big improvement in him on the court.
Oh, yeah, I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I was just waiting for a season where he was healthy consistently because you knew that all the talent was there. It was just a matter of him staying healthy and getting minutes. And
no, he's definitely he could definitely be as good as Bam.
Probably more talented offensively, in my opinion. And just a quick little fact that Memphis is 8-1 without Ja. That just shows you that these guys are playing as a unit too.
Yeah,
it's their chemistry.
They're just enjoying playing with each other right now, and that shows on the court.
Number 5, we got the Clippers. Paul George having an astonishing season and shooting the hell out of the ball, scoring at will, playing great defense. But
he's leading that team without Kawhi, and I hope he plays the same when Kawhi comes back, because the only true scoring help he has is Reggie Jackson at 17.5. I mean, he's got Luke Kennard, who's shooting phenomenal, but only takes about 4 shots a game. So if he could get more shots up, that'd be great. Then you got Marcus Morris, who's scoring pretty well. Usually he's not known as a scorer, but he's up there at 12 points per game.
He can shoot for sure.
Yeah,
he can spread the floor. He'll get his looks.
And then Zubats. I don't even like Zubats, to be honest with you, but he's averaging a whopping 10 and 9 basically, so that's good that he's emerging as a dominant big.
Zubats is solid this year. I have hated him in years past. His plus minus was like, ugh, it was terrible. Like,
right,
the numbers with him on the court, like every time he played or touched the ball, it was like the other team scores. So I was like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah,
Get off the
only
court.
time he was touching the ball was grabbing it from underneath the rim after they scored.
Oh, yeah.
Inbounding it.
This year he's kind of come out of his shell a little bit and he's played pretty consistently.
Right, and I think not Paul, but Reggie Jackson's low-key making his job easier. Reggie's been pretty good for them, but Paul, I just hope his numbers stay consistent when Kawhi comes back.
Being the 5th seed, I don't see this team as anything serious to worry about in the playoffs or anything like that.
Not right now. That's why I'm saying I hope he plays as good as when Kawhi gets back, because if they're both playing dominantly like that, then they're a scary team.
Number 6 at the Los Angeles Lakers. There's a lot to talk about here.
It comes down to Anthony Davis. His heart's not in the right spot. And I don't know what it is. He's just playing like absolute ass, when you got younger guards that are faster and just as fast as Westbrook now, he's being forced to chuck shit up. He's being forced to make dumb passes.
He's done that his whole career.
Nah, he was, yeah. Like worse than ever with Russell. And then your only hope is freaking LeBron. You got DeAndre Jordan, who started a little bit, didn't work. Dwight
Frank
Howard
Vogel just took him out of the lineup and was just like, all right, we're done with you.
Basically, then they put Dwight in and he did the same thing as DeAndre.
I don't know what to say other than maybe age is catching up with these guys. Like,
it's a different league. So when the Bulls were old, nobody was uber athletic as people are today.
the league has developed. A lot of people are more skilled.
It's a lot faster. And when you got these older dudes trying to keep up in pace, it's not the same as the 98 Bulls who would score a bucket and all they have to do is jog down the court because fucking Mark Price is inbounding and walking it up the court and waiting to set up a play. So I think that's a big factor, and no spacing whatsoever,
Anthony Davis is soft, and I think he's just kind of falling off. I don't know what the situation is. Do you blow it up if you're LA?
It's really hard too. I mean, they're all on small contracts, but seeing how they're playing, does anybody really want them? Do you talk to Anthony Davis? I don't see him trading Davis. You just kind of find out what's going on.
His
with
heart's
him.
not in the right position for sure.
Yeah, no. Unless he requests a trade, I don't see him moving him.
LeBron is the only consistent player on that team.
You can't trade Russell. No one wants him.
Nobody wants his contract.
No, and nobody even wants 9.5, 5.5, and 5.
No.
On 35% shooting,
He can't shoot. His athleticism is definitely still there. For as old as he is, he's still fast. He'll get to the basket, but a lot of times he'll chuck up an ill-advised layup, and then there goes your possession. So,
and you could see games that they won where they completely dominate. Everybody's clicking. It's just where is that? At least 2 out of 3 games. Where is that? You're gonna have off nights, but when you have good nights and then they're not seen again until next month, what the hell is happening?
You know what? It might be, you know what? We're old. Let's kind of cruise on autopilot during the regular season. And then when the playoffs roll around, the postseason, let's try to turn it up. And we've known the Lakers to do this in the past.
We've known LeBron to do this. And how many times has that worked for him? Yeah,
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the last 10 minutes of the game, sometimes it's just too late to come back and say, all right, let's try now. You know what I mean? You have to be playing the game the entire game. You can't just play a quarter and try to fight your way back out of a hole that you dug.
And they're veterans, and with the rule changes, they're a little bit more sloppy, I believe. It's a nightmare. It was a nightmare watching DeAndre Jordan and Dwight play, especially Dwight. There's a few possessions, gets a rebound, and he's holding the ball with one hand, looking around like this. And it gets stolen. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? How nonchalant are you out there? How big of a joint did you smoke before the game? Seriously, Jesus Christ. And so I don't know what to do with the Lakers. It's going to be some tough decisions in the offseason.
Yeah, because obviously things aren't working, and I don't think they're going to win a ship. So coming in at the 7th seed for the Western Conference is the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know what to say about these guys either. I think, to be honest, you can't continue to use the same starting 5 year in, year out, not really change your role players on the bench, and expect different results. Luka's phenomenal every year. You know that's going to be the case.
Their player development coaching has been phenomenal, but they don't know what they're doing out there. Tim Hardaway Jr.'s been huge for him. Brunson's been huge, and Kristaps is finally emerging as a good player again. But I think it comes down to Luka, to be honest with you.
If Kristaps stays healthy, then they got a better chance at winning games, but they're still not a title contender. They need to do something else, bring in one more player, something. And you have a lot of pieces to trade off your bench, too. I wouldn't necessarily give up Brunson, but you got other guys like Powell and whatnot.
Yeah, Dwight Powell.
You can get rid of some of those dudes. They're important to your team as of now, but if it helped you get a couple of stars or just one star and you had to sacrifice a draft pick or something like that, you have to build around Luka because he's so young. You drafted him, and yeah, it is what it is. Number 8, the Denver Nuggets. I think this is just an unfortunate situation. In all honesty,
they're in a bad situation.
Jamal Murray's
Aaron
out.
Gordon and Jokic they're the only thing they got. Will Barton's going. He's going off. But without Michael Porter Jr., who didn't do anything to begin with, and without Jamal Murray, they just got unlucky this year. So Jokic, just keep balling and do the best you can. That's all you can do.
They're just in an unfortunate situation with Michael Porter Jr. being out. His back's bothering him again. It's been an ongoing thing since high school even. Number 9th seed is the Timberwolves.
I don't understand how they're the 9th seed. They got all the pieces coming together, playing good together. I just still think that their defense all isn't there, really. Cat's not really known as a defensive big. I mean, he could rebound the ball, but he's not the one to stand straight up and take a back down.
Or to understand where to take a charge.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ball movement, knowing that Anthony Edwards is trying to ISO a lot. Because the Lakers, one game, they actually had a good game before, believe it or not, against the Timberwolves. Should be honest with you, it was only the first half they were good. They held Ant to 2 points, and they had a pretty good lead. And that just shows that Ant is their backbone offensively, but the way he scores is mainly all ISO.
D'Angelo Russell's also having a great year too.
Oh, no doubt. He's definitely back in his Brooklyn days.
Yeah.
Averaging 19, 4, and 6.5.
Back on the ice in the veins, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like D'Lo. They're 18th defensive rating, so I don't know. They need to add more depth. I don't even know if they need to trade for another star. You got a star in the making, an Ant.
Right. No, they're in a good spot. They're young. Malik Beasley's great and all that.
Yeah, maybe a couple more veteran solid role players, but other than that, I really don't see them.
No, they'll be fine in the future.
In the future, for sure. They're nothing at like a finals contender, maybe even like an 8th seed for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's safe to say, but the 10th seed is the Portland Trailblazers. CJ McCollum out with a collapsed lung.
That's tough.
Lillard has been having this ongoing abdomen issue since last year. Lillard does not look the same player as he has in years past.
I think Portland should just blow it all up. Let Dame fix whatever problem he's got going on with him instead of playing shit through the injury. Because he, to be honest, he is playing like shit. And like when you see Dame, you don't expect him to play so badly. And so
never.
Oh my God! What the? Oh my God!
Holy shit!
Oh my God! Our next team. next team after that.
Oh shit! I don't even remember what I was saying.
We'll just go to next team.
All right.
Need some water.
You start.
The Kings, they're in a weird spot themselves. Harrison Barnes, he's playing pretty good, but he's almost like a person you trade for pieces. Halliburton's doing his thing. Buddy Hield, they need a trade. Rashawn Holmes, I think he could be a good piece in their future. Same with De'Aaron Fox, but he needs to learn to shoot the damn ball. 26.5% from 3. Get Marvin Bagley out of here. They're just in a place where they need to trade a lot of their players that are playing well right now for picks in the future, while Rashawn Holmes and Fox and Halliburton can progress.
I don't think Fox is worth the contract that he was just signed to. He has underperformed. The other night he missed 2 free throws to seal the game.
Yeah,
you remember that?
It happens to the best of both of or to everybody, but shooting 26.5% from 3.
Yeah, you're not worth the
it.
money that they just signed you to.
Yeah.
Sacramento has talent on that team.
No, they definitely do.
I'm not a Marvin Bagley fan, but he's still young and he's out of Kentucky, and got room to develop yet. So
he could easily thrive on another team. So just let him go. Get you some good pieces out of him.
Blow it up.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of everybody on there, and you have a decent core there with. I wouldn't even say decent. Halliburton.
I even say trade Hield and Barnes. Buddy doesn't seem to be happy ever on that team. Harrison Barnes, you probably get some.
Would you if you were Buddy Hield? I mean, you're losing every single year.
Yeah, and you're not even playing the amount you want to play. Even Barnes, he's playing well, so you trade him to a team that wants what he could give you with 17 and 6. So
13th is the Houston Rockets. This is to be expected. In my personal opinion, they're so young. John Wall's out for one.
It was. John Wall's probably not going to play. Jayshawn Tate hasn't fully emerged yet. Christian Wood finally at the 5 is dominating.
Christian Wood's a good player, though.
Exactly.
He's really solid. But then you got guys like Jalen Green who are underperforming.
He's not shooting well. He's only averaging about 14 as a primary scorer compared to Eric Gordon, who just sits in the corner and shoots threes, averaging more than him.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that need to develop there. They're so young, though. I'm not even worried about them either.
Because same with Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, he's so young, but he kind of...
I mean, the dude dropped 50 last year.
Exactly. So you expect him to do more than 13, 4, and 5.
There's a lot of potential there. It's just nothing clicking right now.
I think it comes down to Christian Wood leading them. They feed him. He eats up. He feeds them. They eat up. And then it comes down to Wood.
Yeah. 14, OKC. Your boy Josh Giddey.
So we got a lot of hate on Josh Giddey, and don't get me wrong, hell of a player, 10, 6 and 7, 5.8. But you got to think he's not shooting the ball well. He's getting a lot more minutes than most rookies in the first round even are getting comparatively.
You are on a losing team.
Exactly. I mean, he's bound to just, you get 30 to 35 minutes a game.
Yeah, your stats are going to be better than every other rookie's.
Exactly.
Look at the stats per 48 or something like that.
But I mean, he's not shooting well. I mean, 39%. And then 24 from 3. That's not really that well, but it's plus minus. Like, what even is his plus minus? I want to say last time I checked, it was -6. And so when you're on the court and the opposing team scores 6 more points than you while you're on the court, what are you doing to help your team? Like, I know it's not all his fault that it's a -6, but when you're getting all this hype that you're averaging close to a triple-double, like, it's just like Russ with all his triple-doubles, and his plus minus would barely be positive.
So a good plus minus from a good player is +4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Giddey is -7.6.
Exactly.
So that's an impressive stat line for a rookie, yada, 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 minus the poor shooting. But until you can be a positive plus minus, don't come at me. OKC fans, hop off.
You got a good player. He's going to be good.
We exceeded my expectations a little bit.
So we said if he plays at the 3 or the 4, he'll excel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's been doing. He's playing at 3 and 4, which is why I think he's got these pretty good stats.
I still think he has a low floor.
Oh, no, most definitely.
Higher ceiling, for sure, because, it's his rookie year. You're playing 35 minutes a game. You're going to develop faster than a lot of these other guys. Literally not 35, but it's much higher than every other rookie.
Over probably 30 a game.
Yeah. And it's much higher than a lot of these other rookies. I don't want to hear it.
He's averaging 10, 6, and 5, but you look at some of his past games, he'll have a game with like 7, 2, and 2 on like 28 minutes, 30 minutes. And it's like...
And I'm like 10% shooting at that.
Yeah.
So last but not least, we got New Orleans Pelicans. Zion's been in the kitchen eating all their chef's meals.
Oh my God.
Looks obese at this rate.
To be honest, I don't even really have much to say about New Orleans besides Jonas. Keep eating up. I'm praying for you, Jonas.
I like Jonas Valanciunas. Yeah.
Jonas. Ingram's been playing pretty well. Graham's not living up to any expectations.
But Zion, dude, lose some weight. You wonder why your feet freaking hurt.
They need to trade Zion. Just for Zion's health. I mean, you need to get off that Louisiana food. Man.
Yeah, you need to quit eating all that gumbo and shrimp. Get him out of New Orleans. Somebody save him.
Right, but Jonas and Brandon Ingram are tearing it up. Hopefully they get a good pick next year that could really do some damage. Devontae Graham, hopefully he improves.
Jackson Hayes pretty solid too.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes,
player. He's all right.
Role player. He's been doing pretty good. Alexander Walker stepped up pretty big this year.
I like him. Yeah, I like him a lot.
And even Josh Hart, he's finding his role. He's doing pretty good.
I don't really have anything to say about New Orleans other than that. Just Zion lose some freaking weight, dude.
Yep, just BI and Jonas ball out and pray for the best.
Thank you guys for listening to this podcast.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Michael McNarley, for producing it. Appreciate you. Can we get you in a shot somehow? Yeah!
Michael McNarley.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Peace out, everybody.